Hello YouTube, this is William. Thought maybe I would briefly talk about some books while I'm taking a little break here for a moment while it's cool, while the fan's still off. I'd mentioned something about what's the plot on my books and would like to have a video. I did a video of the plots about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. So it's probably be a good thing to update that a bit, because since then I've changed publishers and all this other good stuff, and the covers have changed. So titles are still the same, plots are still the same, characters still the same. It's just the aesthetics of it has changed, and also the pricing has changed somewhat. Actually came down a little bit. So basically, about 10 years ago, I wrote the first book, which was Wilderness Challenge, and it's kind of living out my dream as I was a boy, and in many ways I still have the same dream, or would like to try it anyway, of living in the mountains like the mountain men that I'd read about, Jim Bridger and Kit Carson, Jedediah Smith, and all those guys, and Hugh Glass. And I've always thought that would just be the greatest adventure, is to just live like those men did. I know it's probably not as easy as what we think, but anyway, I've always admired those guys. Mainly because I just love the outdoors. I love camping and hunting and fishing. Well, not so much fishing, but just the outdoors. I enjoy it. So I decided one day, I was off work. I was in between jobs and basically got bored. So I said, well, I'm gonna write a book. I'd read enough books in my lifetime, so I decided I'd just sit down and write a book. And I sat down, and this Wilderness Challenge just poured out. In 2 weeks, I had the book written, in about 2 to 3 weeks. So it's about 200 pages, I think, is what the new format is. And it's basically, my character John Cameron is a multimillionaire who lives in New York, and he has the same mindset that I did growing up. Is he wants to live like the mountain men did. So he's getting, maybe it's a midlife crisis, I don't know, but he's getting on up in age, in mid to late 50s, and so he decides to sell out his company in New York, a real estate company, and buy a cabin in Montana. So he does that. Along the way, he learns the how to survive. He takes classes and learns how to build fires and things like that you're going to need to do to live like that. And learns how to take care of horses. He has a mentor that teaches him about horses and horsemanship and the land and the mountains, and so along the way you get to learn all of that with him. You get it's kind of like an educational book at that point, to teach you a portion of what it takes to live as the mountain men did, tanning hides and things like that, trapping. And then on one of his quests, he discovers a hidden valley in a remote area in the mountains, and there's a mystery waiting for him there. You got to read the book to find out what that mystery is, and that leads him into another totally different culture, if you will. But throughout his travels, he discovers a mystery. He's involved in some outlaws, and he helps capture some outlaws. He's fighting the elements, wild animals, hunting, fishing. I mean, just any and everything that you can imagine in the wilds happens to him, and you get to live that with him. You get to experience what he experienced. And so that was the first book, Wilderness Challenge. Then the second book just kind of picks up where the first one left off, which was a series. It's called Freedom's Challenge. And it has a few more pages. I think it's like 250 pages in the book. Just small little fiction novels, not like Louis L'Amour books. The same character, John Cameron. He becomes, from exploits in Wilderness Challenge, he's kind of a local folk hero. And he gets involved with the U.S. Marshal Service. There's some escaped terrorists that actually escape into his backyard, if you will, in the Idaho, Montana mountainous regions. And John Cameron is kind of caught up in that manhunt. He is asked to track those men down and with the Marshal Service, and he does. Reluctantly, he does. And the story starts getting you involved in the tracking process and how he tracks them down and rescues a young boy that got kidnapped by these terrorists, and they killed his father and just some things, and so John rescues this young man and actually starts to teach him some of the knowledge that he has gained in the wilderness. So you get to experience that with them. Not only the aspect of chasing outlaws, but also the aspect of learning again the wilderness ways, if you will. But the chase is only the beginning. That's just the first part of the novel or book. This same terrorist cell manages to get 2 nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, into the United States, and they detonate them in 2 cities. That creates a chain reaction from the East Coast to the West Coast that will change the entire world civilization as we know it. It will collapse. We will go back to the Stone Age pretty much. But out of that comes a beautiful life. So I don't want to give too much of the book away. It is a page turner. That is one of the main feedbacks I get from people who've read the book. It's a page turner. Most of them say that they can't put the books down until they finish. I know my sister-in-law, when Wilderness Challenge first came out and I gave them a copy, my brother doesn't read, but she read it, and he was telling me later that she sat up all night and read the book. She wouldn't go to bed. So she's not much of a reader either, but she enjoyed that book. So these books are for all ages. I wanted to write a book that I wasn't embarrassed that if my nephews read it, if my mother read it, I would not be embarrassed about that. So these books they're appropriate for all ages. Now I will say Freedom's Challenge gets is probably PG-13 because it does get very graphic and a lot of the destruction and the death and things like that from this chain reaction and collapse of governments and civilization and disasters that come upon the United States and the world for that matter. But that story could be ripped from the headlines today. But anyway, check these books out. I will put links in the description below of how to get these books. The first one in the series is Wilderness Challenge. It has it's on Amazon right now, and it has 26 reviews. All of them, I think the lowest review is a 4.5 stars. On the average, it's right at 5 stars on every review that is on there. Freedom's Challenge is on there as well. And it has 5 reviews because the original sale price on it was $30 something from the previous publisher. Now they're down to like $15 each. So they're also available on Kindle. So if you have a Kindle, you can get a copy on Kindle for like $10 or so. If you buy the paperback books, then you get a special discounted rate for the Kindle book as well. I think it's like $2 or $3. So these are excellent reads. I encourage everyone to pass this around to get the word out as much as you can. I'd really appreciate that. And I know that if you enjoy reading about the wilderness and the great outdoors and adventure and horseback and mountain men, then if you enjoy Lula Moore, you will love these books. If I say so myself. They were a joy to write. Each one of them, like I said, the first one took about 2.5 weeks. The second one took about the same amount of time. But that was steady writing. It was as if the stories just poured out from somewhere within me. And so I really, when people ask me, how do you write like that, I really can't take the credit for it, to be honest with you, because I don't know where it came from. I just know that it was something that just flowed out. It just, from my fingertips to the computer, somehow it made it there. So check them out, and I would appreciate it. We'll catch you again soon. Goodbye.